where did I put that? Do you remember where I put that, or did you move that? When you live alone, there's no one to ask. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Precious K. For those of you who are new here, thank you guys so much for clicking on today's video. As you guys can see by the title of today's video, we are going to be talking about living alone in your 20s, tips on how to live alone happily, and just my experience living alone. If you are interested in seeing that, then just keep on watching. So just to start off, I'm just going to talk a little bit about myself. So I have been living alone now for over a year. Yeah, it's been over a year now that I've been living alone. When I completed my degree, or while I was doing my degree rather, I lived with family, like extended family, for a year. Then I transitioned onto living in res. And you're familiar with Tuck's Village, you would know that you have your own bedroom, but you have like sort of like flatmates in the space. And honestly, you guys, it really felt like I lived alone there, because I would only see, I probably had like a relationship with like one or two of the girls, and then I would literally never see the other girls ever. So it really did feel like I was living alone. I have sort of been used to being alone for a little while now. I think it's been about like probably over 7 or 8 years I've been away from my family. So I sort of had that experience being alone for a little while, but it's nothing compared to having your own apartment, which I've had for the last year. So I'm just going to be sharing my experience with you guys. Again, everybody's experience is different. I was super excited to move into my own space. I lived with my best friend and her sisters for about 2 or 3 years, and although that experience was like good and great and whatever, I did definitely get to a place where I just wanted my own space. Just felt like I needed to be on my own. I was very used to going out for work and then coming back and knowing that there are going to be people in my home. So the idea of not coming home to anyone was a bit scary, but I knew that it was something that I really needed for myself. So yeah, it's been over a year now and I've absolutely loved it. And I had a lot of people tell me about their experiences, good and bad, but I knew that it was something that I needed to experience for myself. So if you are considering moving out and it's been something that has been on your heart and you just feel like you want to do it, this is your sign to go ahead and do it, girl. You're not going to regret it. That doing research is so important. I was probably researching apartments for probably a year. Yeah, probably a year before I actually moved out. The responsibilities that come with having an apartment are many. So you want to do a lot of research about not just the apartment that you want to move into, but the space, the area, the amenities. All of those things are super important. Also just making sure that you are asking the right questions. I spoke to my dad a lot before I moved out. He was very supportive of me. On top of doing research, of course, I would definitely encourage you to save. Just save as much money as you can, because moving does come with a lot of costs. So for the next part of the video, we're just going to be talking about tips that I would like to give you to just making living alone more bearable or fun. Funny enough, someone actually told me that I make living alone look like so much fun, and I've also gotten lots of compliments over on my TikTok. If you guys don't follow me on TikTok, you should. I do a lot of like home content on TikTok. I haven't done one in a very long time because I don't have a tripod currently, so I don't have a tripod for my phone, so making that kind of content is very hard. But I've been told that I make living alone super fun, looks super fun, and honestly it's not just looks. I genuinely do enjoy it. So I want to share with you guys some tips that I have incorporated since living alone, just to make this more bearable for me, and hopefully it will help you too. So the first thing that I want to recommend is making your space beautiful. Now, you know, when you move into a place, it's very foreign. Like sleeping here for the first time was so strange, okay? And I think that that got better the more I started making my space beautiful. Whatever beautiful means to you, do that. Now, I am extremely aesthetically driven, so I need things to look good, to feel good. So I really took a lot of time into making my space feel good and clean for me. Of course, this does take a lot of like financial that it does put a lot of financial burden on you depending on the kind of things that you like, but you definitely need to try to find things that make your space look nice. A lot of people are like, no, I'm not going to decorate my place just because I'm only renting, or I don't know how long I'm going to be here, which I completely understand that, but I wouldn't want to be in a space where I'm super miserable. Pinterest is your best friend. Literally make Pinterest boards. I had Pinterest boards for like a year prior to when I moved into my place. I had it on my vision board. Make boards, try to find inspo online that can help you, because when you move into your place you can really make that come to life, and it's just so nice. It's always really nice to see how other people decorate their place and just get inspiration from them. I think that was something that I really did in the beginning. I would constantly be watching apartment tours and house tours and spend tons of time on Pinterest just making different boards, just seeing how I can do with what I have. And again, it doesn't have to look like the people on the boards. It can look exactly how you want it to look. Making your space beautiful just also makes it nice for you to come home to. If you do go to the office, or if you do go to work, or wherever you go, coming home and knowing that you're coming into a space that you love just helps so much more with the process of living. So the next tip that I have for you is to be organized and just know where things are. Now, one of the pros of living alone is that if you put something somewhere, it's going to stay there. Okay, unless of course you have guests and things like that. But one of the things I love about living alone is that I know where everything is. Okay, so I'm pretty organized in that I know where I've stored most of my stuff, and it just helps and eliminates the anxiety of trying to find things. Because you know, when you live alone, when you live with family, pardon me, or if you live with a friend, you know, it's very easy to be like, oh, where did I put that? Do you remember where I put that? Or did you move that? When you live alone, there's no one to ask. Who are you gonna ask? There is literally no one to ask. Being organized for me is very important. This doesn't mean that I don't have moments where things are very chaotic. I definitely have those moments, but for the most part, being organized just helps with the peace of mind, knowing that, okay, I'm alone in this space and this is where I'm keeping this is where I'm keeping this, and you don't have to worry about certain things like documents or things as simple as your plates, your mugs. Just want to know that if I'm ever not feeling well, or if I'm ill or whatever, I can just go to this drawer and this is where everything is, because there isn't anyone to ask. That's one of the, I guess, I don't want to call it a con, but that's just one of the things that come with living alone. You are pretty much responsible for everything, but we'll get to that in a second. So living alone, it's very easy to get bored. Now, I've said this before, but I'm not really a person that gets bored. I don't really get bored. I always feel like there's always something for me to do, even if it's indoors, but try to make new hobbies. That is something that I tried to incorporate into my life last year, and that was with me joining the gym. I incorporated that new hobby into my life because I felt like I did definitely get to a place where I was almost too self-sufficient, too independent, to where I felt like I didn't really need people, and that's not true. The devil makes us think that, you know, isolating ourselves is completely okay, and that is not how God called us to live. God has called us to live in community, especially because I was working from home last year. So I had literally, you guys, I had no reason to see people at all. Like, if I didn't leave my apartment intentionally, I was not going to leave my apartment. Literally, I decided, you know what, of course I joined the gym for like health reasons and all of that, but I think just going into a space where you're interacting with other people is so important with this journey of living alone. So I would go to the gym and interact with people there and be able to come back home and have the peace and the solitude that I have, that I love. So that hobby could be anything. It doesn't have to be the gym. It could be like taking up a painting class, which I really want to do. Pottery. If anybody knows like pottery places in Johannesburg, please do comment down below. I really want to get into like painting and pottery and that sort of thing. So just taking up new hobbies, doing new things, going out, those are things that I enjoy doing. I am like fearless in like going out alone. It doesn't scare me anymore. But I'll get to that in a second when I talk about the lessons I've learned. So another tip that I would like to give you is make a habit of communicating to people. Now I know I touched on this, but this is more so I'm talking about like your friends, your family, letting them know about your whereabouts. Unfortunately, your safety is jeopardized when you live alone, so make a habit of talking to people, talking to your family, letting them know when you're leaving the house, if you can or if you need to. And I mean, it doesn't have to necessarily be like an everyday check-in thing, but if you have people in your life that can sort of know what your routine is on a day-to-day basis, that's really helpful. There are tons of anxieties that come with living alone. I mean, I know before I moved, I was just like, what if something happens to me? How are people gonna know? And unfortunately, these are very real things. Just to ease your mind, make sure that you know there are people in your life that know your routine and what you do and where you go. And if you are going somewhere, you know, let people know, send people your locations. I know my friend Marcel, he typically asks me to send him my location if I'm going somewhere with someone new or whatever the case. So yeah, that is a huge thing that I would recommend, especially if you are a woman in South Africa. So the next tip is something that I find super duper important, and that is just try cultivating healthy habits within your home. So this could mean incorporating 15 to 20 minute cleans in a day. So picking up after yourself is something that's very important. When you clean, I am a clean as you go kind of girl, okay? I'm not leaving everything till the end. It just overwhelms me. I have so much going on. I mean, not everybody enjoys cooking for themselves, which is another thing that I learned about myself being alone, is that I genuinely do enjoy cooking for myself. Now, I don't always want to cook for myself, don't get me wrong, but I genuinely do enjoy cooking for myself. So just cultivating habits like doing 15 to 20 minutes cleans. I know last year I would clean on Fridays. Like Fridays were my cleaning days. I did not want to clean on the weekend. I didn't want to clean on Sundays. I used to clean on Friday nights after work. When I'm done with everything, I would literally put on like some YouTube videos, podcasts, whatever, and I would just do a full-on clean of my apartment. And when you live alone, if you make a mess, you clean the mess. There's like literally no, I mean, I guess if you have like a helper or whatever the case, but for me, I don't have anyone that helps me clean my place. So just knowing that I'm cultivating habits that are just gonna help me to not be overwhelmed. So like cleaning up after myself, folding things back when I use them, fixing my bed every morning, things like that just help to ease your mind when you live alone. You don't overwhelm yourself with like little tasks every single day that could have easily been avoided. So for the last part of this video, we're just going to get into lessons that I've learned while living alone. So I know people say this all the time, but you really do learn a lot about yourself. So the first thing that I want to touch on is that I've learned that I am truly never alone, and this just goes back to the Bible in John 14:16, and I'm gonna read it for you guys. And it says, I will ask the Father and he will give you another helper who will be with you forever. And here the scripture is talking about the Holy Spirit. You are never really alone. Even the angels of God are constantly surrounding me, and I've gotten to a place where I genuinely feel the presence of God with me. I absolutely enjoy being by myself. You can ask anyone around me, they will tell you that Precious really does and is really enjoying this season of her life. And you know, I'm not gonna be alone forever, God, I hope. Okay, I have fully embraced this season. And the second thing that I learned is that you really learn what responsibility really means. And I say this because we all have different responsibilities, whether or not you live alone or if you live at home, wherever you are, we all have different responsibilities. But there's a different kind of responsibility that comes when you live alone. You're literally responsible for yourself, you're responsible for your space, you're responsible for every little thing in this apartment right now is my responsibility. And that could overwhelm some people, but for me it just gives me great joy, and I want to be able to steward what God has given me so well, not because I want him to reward me, but because I'm so happy with what he's given me. You have to fully embrace it and just know that God will not give you anything that he doesn't believe that he can carry you through for you to get to the other side. The next one for me is just, I think it's one of the biggest lessons, is that you learn accountability. Okay, so why I say this is it's just in the smallest things, to be honest. It's like there's no one to blame for things. There's literally no one to blame for things. You have to take accountability for your own actions. If you don't turn the geyser off, or you don't turn the tap off, or you don't turn the lights off, it's literally your responsibility. So you learn so much accountability, and it just helps you move different. Well, it's helped me move different. So yeah, I really like that. I've learned so much more accountability when it comes to just life in general. You know, when you're at home and your dad is like, turn off the lights or put the tap down or whatever, you don't really fully understand why they do that until it's you paying the bills and you constantly buying electricity every other week. Like, there've been times where I had to buy electricity twice in 1 week, and I said, okay, Precious girl. So the next lesson is probably my favorite. It's that I have definitely learned how to properly make decisions on my own. I'm the type of person, and I think I am still this person, who I love to get like second opinions. I'll always be like, so what do you think? What do you think? But I think living alone, I've just learned how to make decisions on my own. Like, if I don't like this, then I'm not gonna get this. If I need this, I need to get this. So I think it just comes with not having people around you constantly to validate you. You literally need to validate yourself and validate your decisions and stand by your decisions. That's something that I've really learned. Of course I still like go to people for advice and all of that, but I've definitely learned how to stand and back myself way more since living alone. I was always a little bit more on the reserved side, but I think living alone has just gotten me out of a shell, which is so strange, just because I've learned so much about myself. There are certain things that I can't tolerate, certain things that I like and don't like. Making decisions on my own and just knowing that I'm backing myself in a certain situation has just helped me so much with my walk with myself. And I also feel like living alone has just heightened my inclination to do certain things alone. I have so much fun, like grocery shopping, just shopping in general. I've just learned how to really romanticize those parts of my life that a lot of people would like look down on. Like, a lot of people don't like grocery shopping, and I used to be one of those people until I realized that I'm literally grocery shopping to nourish myself and nourish my body. It's not like I'm doing it for anyone else, so I need to get with it, and I just need to start liking it. So I've really just made it fun. I'm sure you guys have seen in the vlogs, I really enjoy just spending that time and being outside on my own. It's really heightened my like ability to like go to restaurants alone. I haven't gone to the movies alone, which is something that I really want to do, but that inclination to just do things on my own has really been heightened since living alone. Like, I could literally travel on my own, which is something that I want to do soon, God willingly. But yeah, I think that is it. So yeah, you guys, that brings us to the end of today's video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. I am really loving these sit down conversations, these let's talk segments on my channel. Please let me know if there's anything else that you guys would like me to talk about in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.